Welcome to Bear Lifestyle, the podcast where we speak up and speak out about all taboo topics and make them normal and acceptable.
You are invited to be curious, to try something new, and stay open to provocative perspectives.
I'm Simona Spark, a best-selling author, international speaker, transformational coach, and so many other things. Beyond anything else, I'm a woman who stopped following other people's rules and started creating my own.
I'm Carolyn Marcos, a life coach on a mission to break the labels and expectations that others place on us. I am a woman who used to hate her own body until I dared to become the sexy goddess I am today.
In this space, we are going to get naked by stripping away insecurities, self-judgments, and all kinds of limitations, and reach in for the essence of who we really are bear.
Beautiful, authentic, real, and ever evolving. Let's begin.
Here,
Welcome back.
we celebrate you, we celebrate ourselves and everybody that is listening and watching us and coming back for more and more and more. So let's drink to all of you.
I love it.
And we are here today.
Okay,
We
we will
gather here. What is this name? We all gather here today.
talk. How fitting for the topic is to use, the wedding. We are gathered here today to witness how sex influences our relationships.
How sex influencing our relationship
Mhm.
ships. And we really want to look at like different type of the relationships and how sex show up in different type of relationships. So let's just jump into it because again, no script, no thing. We're just gonna jump right in and invite all of you to leave your comments, to ask your questions, to disagree with us, to give us different perspectives. And we are all here to, learn from each other and actually talk about the damn thing that nobody want to talk about, right?
We want to talk about it.
We do. We do.
And that's
So
here
that's what we sign up for, to talk
That's
about the things that some people might not want to talk about.
right. Right. Talk about how we get influenced, in our relationships to conform into different places or to desire less or to desire more than what we would normally want for ourselves.
Mhm.
How do our relationships influence what we want, both good and bad?
So let's look at the amount of sex based on the type of relationships. Generally speaking, those are not rules, those are not formulas, those are not finite, those are not absolutes. Generally speaking, just to help in each and every one of us to understand, okay, where I'm at, what relationship am I in, and what that says about my sex life based on the type of relationships that I'm in, because it is a limitation, and that's the thing that we want to convey, how we limit our sexual experience based on relationship that we are in. So starting with the big one that has started long time ago, you only allowed to have sex when you get married. So being in a married relationship and having sex mainly for the purpose of procreation, right?
That's
Anybody
thrown
believe
out the
it?
window in my relationship.
That's a long time ago. That feels like his grandma lifestyle of me. there. Right? We evolved from that. Thank God we evolved from that.
Thank goodness.
So, but also acknowledge there are still people and cultures and isolated parts of the world and people there. That's how they live their life, and that's they believe. And we're not here to say that they believe is wrong. It's just here to
No.
see how many different types, what's on the buffet
Yeah,
of relationships and sex, and you get to pick and choose what you like and what serve you, and what not. Just leave it there.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so what will be another relationship?
Let's talk about dating.
So like
When
boyfriend and girlfriend, or
sure.
girlfriend and girlfriend, or boyfriend and boyfriend.
Yeah,
So just dating.
yeah, in a month
Okay.
of sex, how much would there be in comparison to when you're married or when you get into the marriage if you've had to abstain before you have any type of sex, you know?
Right. So dating is a beautiful space because it's kind of throwing the rules on the window.
Yeah.
Not that the other spaces cannot do it because it's up to the people that are in that space, right?
Mhm.
But I know we talk about, how many times do we need to date until we actually have sex with the person? And I was just sharing here that that shifted for me. Like I kind of want to have sex first and then decide if I want to still want to see the person.
Yeah.
Um, but one thing that I want to talk about when it's coming to dating is that phrase that I never got it. I never understood it. The walk of shame.
Walk
Like
of
when we
shame.
talk about one night stand.
Sure.
Who come up with that shit?
I don't know. I think it's a lyric from a song, The Walk of Shame. I think it's
Is
Pink's
it?
song. Yeah, I think Pink actually wrote that song, The Walk of Shame. But yeah, who says who? You know, who says that if you have a one night stand that you can't walk out with your head raised high and all of that. In fact, it brings up we've talked a lot about Sex in the City, but it brings up an episode where Carrie did that for herself one time. She just dated a guy just to have sex with him and then, didn't like keep in communication with him afterwards, nothing. She just like had sex, thanked him, and walked out the door. Why is it okay for guys to do that and not for women to do that?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Guys are like applaud for it,
Right.
and women are ashamed.
Like,
So if I see a woman early in the morning, which I'm not going to be walking around early in the morning unless I have a one night stand and walking home. But if I see a woman, I'll be the one to congratulate her. It's like you allowed yourself to give yourself what you wanted. Good for you, bravo. There is no
right?
shame in it. Can we just drop that? Can we just drop it?
I mean, there is no shame in our sexual pleasure ever.
Ever.
Period.
Now, that being said, let's talk about mistresses. And I don't think there is a correspondent for the man.
There's not. It's only for the woman.
That's very interesting, isn't it? Like the guy gets to cheat, but the woman doesn't.
Right. She
Not
becomes
that they don't, but they don't have a name for it. Like,
right. The other woman. Yeah. Is it the other man? Yeah. I've never heard that said out loud or out in a situation. Then do it.
it feels like it's a double standard again, like to the point that we actually have a label for the other woman and define that relationship out of the partnership or marriage or whatever the agreement might be. But
Right.
if the woman step outside of it, we don't define that relationship. There is no name there for that dude.
Right. There isn't.
Very interesting, isn't it?
It is. It
Never thought about that up until a minute ago.
it just goes to show that we have so many double standards. Like life is just full of all of these double standards, and I think that's the beautiful part of our conversation is that we get to come in here and we get to say, do we have to have that double standard? Can we just not label it anymore? If you have a relationship outside of your relationship, that's your business. You know, I don't get to judge that for you. I don't get to take that away from you. I don't get to put you down because of it. That's your business. It's not my business. It
Right.
was never meant for me to know anything about it, maybe, you know?
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
So then we move into the relationships, same sex relationships. Um, I will have you lead that conversation. For someone that it's been in a relationship with a man and now living her true life in a relationship with another woman.
Yeah. It all ties together. I mean, the double standards, I think that's one of the misconceptions in society is that they think that if you have a heterosexual relationship, then life goes in this perfect way. It's like you get married, you have the kids and all of these things, or you get divorced and you go into another relationship, all of those things, but they cross that line. My relationship with my wife is no different, and that's one of the things that we talk about a great deal. Is that our relationship is no different than anybody else's relationship. We met in a bar. We did the things that you're not supposed to do, which is to, go home on the first night and spend the night together and have an amazing sexual experience together. And we dated each other and we courted each other, and we did all of the same things. Our relationship really doesn't have anything different to it than anyone else's relationship, and I love breaking that for people. you
Yes.
know I love my wife just the same as somebody else loves their husband. you
Right.
know I desire my wife just the same as somebody else desires their person. And so, but when we do that and we take those relationships and we just see them for what they are, the love, the compassion, the trust, the desire, the sensuality of all of it, and we feed ourselves through it, then every relationship is just beautiful and great for itself.
Oh my God, so beautiful. It's coming down to a connection with another human or humans through unconditional love and just with the purpose of pleasing each other and supporting each other and witnessing each other as long as that's possible. And when it's not, everybody walk on their own path. So as I personally open myself more and more to like just see the human in front of me and let go of the gender and sexual orientation and all that, and really connect with another human at first of all at just connecting with another human, not necessarily sexual, but also keeping that door open, right?
Yeah.
And I've been pondering about this idea of, having sex with multiple people at the same time. And how do I feel about it? And it's a space that I'm growing in and explore and just witnessing what are the limiting beliefs that I get to drop just to open my heart more and more and more. And then last week, I actually, because we sit into the energy and that's the things that we are receiving. I get to witness the most beautiful confession, share, declaration, whatever you want to call it. Was this a gorgeous man? It's an event. He was on the stage and he was sharing that he has the most loving relationship with his husband. They were married for 10 years now. So a loving, beautiful relationship, a mature relationship, right? And I'm making the point because it's a different energy, as you know better than I do, to be in a relationship for decades or to just start dating. That's the topic that we are in, right?
Right.
So they know each other, they trust each other, they love each other, and now both of them got surprised by this desire of inviting a third person in their relationship. and was such a beautiful was not about how many people are here, what are the laws, which is like he was generally saying like, I am so excited, I'm so happy, we are so excited, and this third person that we get to love and help us back. And I was like, oh my god, it's just more love.
Yes.
Who gets to decide the number when in so many parts of the world that people have harems? Is that how you say it?
Right. A harem.
All my
Uh-huh.
life I've been judging that and thinking like that's just not right.
Right.
Who am I to decide that?
Right.
I have
And
no
I
idea what's going on there.
Exactly. And I think that, and we all have to make those decisions for ourselves. And I think that's like the difference between the experience that you're going through and the experiences that I have had, where I was in a place where I wanted to please another person. So if that was what they wanted, so then I was like, okay, then that's what I want to. Even if it wasn't what I wanted to make sure that this other person was happy. So it kind of changed the way I felt about a situation like that for myself, but every single one of us have to go into our own situations for ourselves. We can't go into it. We can't conform what we want in our relationships based on what somebody else wants in the
Right.
relationship.
Well, we've been doing that. I've been doing that most of my adult life and got me
Every one
nowhere.
of us
It's
have done
just,
it.
I
Every
learned a
one of us.
lot and I appreciate all the challenges and all the messed ups because that got me where I'm at today. But I think it's a unnecessary pressure on that label of what the relationship is to let that define the amount of sex we are having, what kind of sex we are having, how much we are having, are we allowed to have orgasms or not, like all the things. And we forget the essence. It's a very intimate, vulnerable space with another human or humans.
I love what you said there, though, when he was making this declaration that this was something that they had come to together, and they're seeing it as an opportunity to bring more love into their relationship.
Love and genuine connection, really.
Yes.
And then we take it into the other spaces, and again, please let us know if there are more because probably we don't cover all. um, Sex partner, like the booty calls, sex with benefits, friends with benefits, sex
Friends
with
with
benefits,
benefits.
friends with benefits.
I like sex with benefits. What does that look like?
Let's make a
Yeah.
note of
All
that.
right. Friends with benefits. Yes, absolutely.
And then erotic relationships.
Yeah.
What other relationships are there?
There's monogamous relationships.
I'm not
There's
gonna open marriages.
polyamorous relationships. There's
It's all about that the relationships are defined by the existence or non-existence of the sex, right?
things like it.
Like we have friends,
Yeah.
no sex.
Mm-hmm.
Friends with benefits, I call you if I need it.
Right.
No commitment.
Right.
um, so isn't that interesting as it's such a big part of the life, and yet people are afraid talking about it.
Right. Right. But that's because society puts us into this place where we're not okay. It's not okay to talk about it. Like, why isn't it okay to talk about it? When I was living in the Bay Area, as was before I came out, I was still dating. I was still with my daughter's father,
Mhm.
um, and but I had girlfriends who were gay, and the conversations that we would have about sex. And here, I'm not a really, I wasn't exploring my own sexuality, but I love the conversation of sex. And so we would get on the BART train going to wherever it was that we were going, and the conversations would be so juicy that when we stopped talking, you could have heard a pin drop in that car because
Mm,
everybody was tuned into that conversation.
yes.
We all want to have it, but we're too afraid to open our mouths about it. We
To
wait
ask
until
for
we're,
it
yeah,
and to receive it
exactly. When
and
we're
to be okay with liking it and loving
yeah,
it and ask for more.
ask for more. It's like the conversation that you can have around your own pleasure, no matter what relationship you're in, should be your conversation to have in any space that you're in. And if other people are eavesdropping on that conversation, maybe just invite them into that conversation, you know maybe give them a space. And I think that's a beautiful part about what we do is we're giving people a space to have that conversation. Let's talk about what's taboo.
Mhm.
Why is it taboo that a woman has an affair and she becomes the other woman, the mistress? But if a man does it, what's that about?
Mhm.
The wife wasn't giving him what he needed, or the girlfriend wasn't giving him what he needed.
Yeah.
But what about the woman? You know,
And then also blaming the wife, like, well, of course he got a girlfriend because the wife didn't satisfy him.
exactly,
I had that
exactly.
story.
Right. But couldn't we be having a different conversation
Yes.
about all of this by opening ourselves up? It's like, I really want to please you in our relationship, in the intimate part of our relationship. What would that look like for you?
Hmm.
And then accepting that conversation, letting them talk about it. What do you want? What do you like? What do you desire? And then
And
where does
how
that,
do you want it?
yes, and where does that meet up with what do I like? What do I desire? How do I like it? And then figure out all of the pieces that go in between all of that. Conversations in married couples would change dramatically
Yeah.
um if we started having these conversations. It changed for us. It changed a lot of things for us. And if we just let go of all of this stigma, all of this judgment, all of this, we weren't invited into judging somebody else for the relationship that they're having. That's
Yeah.
not our place.
That's not our place. And it's actually gets to be very simple. And this is the framework that I want to offer here. And it's my intention that it's going to serve a lot of people. As it might be the case that you are in a space where you're not comfortable or confident to talk about, or not allowed to talk about sex and pleasure and orgasm and all that in your relationship, or redefine your relationship based on that. Um, if you look at sex as being like such a fundamental physiological need, it's basically the foundation of our existence. It's in the same line with sleep, food, water. It's a physiological need. It's nothing extravagant about having sex. You don't have to be in a certain point in your career in order to get to sex. You don't have to have a family, children, a house in order. Like, it's none of that. It's physiological need. Like,
Right.
we need sex as we need water, as we need food. So use that in exploring and discovering for yourself, like, what is it that you want, what is it that you prefer, how to ask for. Think about food. What food do you like? Why do you like it? How do you ask for that? How do you choose? Same goes with sex. It's exactly the same principle.
Right.
It's just it's private. That's the only difference. Like, you could eat your ice cream in public, and you could go to a public buffet and choose your food, and you don't give a shit if people judge what's on your plate. The same thing you get to choose what come to sex is just it's private until it's not, right? Because
Oh,
there's
you make it
also
public.
spaces. There is
Right.
also spaces when people have sex with the purpose of teaching, with the purpose, and mainly it's with the purpose of teaching. And then, of course, we have pornography, which is far from teaching. It's opposite of that. It's just
Right.
freaking confusing, and it's just so distortionate, right?
Yep.
So that's the tool that I want to offer and see if it's working for you, because it is a physiological. You never shame for being thirsty. You never embarrass for being hungry. So no need to feel shame or embarrassment around want to have an orgasm, want to be touched and kiss and hugged and all the things. Same thing.
Absolutely the same thing. So true. What we're just denying ourselves, certain things that our body just absolutely craves,
Yeah.
and when we sit in that space of denying ourselves something, we're it's like telling ourselves you can't breathe air. Like, don't breathe the air anymore. No, you can't have that water. No, you can't have that food. No, you definitely cannot have that orgasm. Why can't you?
And it's very important to see how, because it's a physiological need and we have all these physiological needs, we actually compensate with something else.
We do.
So I'm not having sex, I'm gonna have more ice cream. I don't have an orgasm, I'm gonna eat more and gain some weight. So we always overcompensate with something else, but for what? For the things that our body naturally want,
Right.
for the things that our body naturally desire. So when one is missing, it's that lack, that void is going to be filled with something else. And I know there is an entire industry, and I'm just so pleased that people do a lot of work in that space when it's coming to emotional eating and all that. But how much of that emotional eating it's tied into unsatisfied sexual life,
A good deal of it, actually.
right?
Yeah.
It's tied into a lot of trauma. That
Hmm.
trauma get to freeze emotions and desire in the body, and now we have inhibition around sex, and now we overcompensate with food, and now we overweight, and now we look in the mirror, and now we feel ugly, and how should I feel sexy when I have all this weight on me? So it's just like all tied into each other. So
Exactly.
once again, you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and from where you're at, you get to take the next step. Might be emotion, might be food, might be mirror, might be body, might be sex, might be boundary, whatever it is, and you get to unpack that ball of messiness that doesn't allow you to feel a pleasurable, joyful, full life.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Well, I'm glad that you agree with me. Because we don't want to break up here live.
Right. No, absolutely never. Um, no, just
So,
amazing to be able to be in a space where we can offer that where you are, like just right where you are in this moment. It doesn't matter any of the outside things that are going on, just who you are in this moment. What is calling you, and what do you want to say yes to for yourself? don't don't deny it.
yes, yes. And if there is zero support or you have no space or nobody to talk with, once again, I want to invite you in our Facebook group. And it's a free group, it's an open conversation. We do Q&A, so you could ask your questions. If that feels too exposed, you could private message or email me or Carolyn with your question, and just be in a group and show up for the live Q&A sessions where we actually address all the questions that they are put in there. That being said, I don't want anybody to feel like they are alone and they have no money for support, and nobody to talk with, you do. Come join us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We are very loving people, and we are very transparent about where we are, and the intention is to just help another sister to have a good orgasm.
Right. Have a multiple.
How about multiple? How about
Yeah.
over and over and over again? Like,
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
that could be a good note to close on.
Always a good place.
All right, you guys, we thank you so much for being here with us. Please join the conversation, as our ending promo is saying, and email us, ask your question. Let us know what do you want to talk about, what you're disagreeing with, what do you want more of. And we will do our best to show up for whatever is required, because that's what we signed up for.
Exactly, because just like we ask you to be curious, we're curious too, and we want to know. So
Yes.
let
Yes.
us in.
Let us in, and go ahead and have amazing sex. Have it every day. You don't need a person to have a good sex. You could have a good sex with a good person, with one person, with more than one. Whatever your desire is, you get to give yourself what you want.
On
We
that note,
support your decision. Just go ahead and experience pleasure.
we're
We will love to hear from you. What inspired you? What triggered you? And what interests you?
Do you have questions? Perfect. Get your answers in our Q&A sessions in the Bear Experience Facebook group.
There are many ways for you to join the conversation. You could leave your comments, or you could email us.
We can't wait to have you back. Till then, be Bear.
Beautiful, authentic, real, and ever evolving.